Welcome to the case summary of Red Hawk vs. Ponca Nation Gaming Commission, case number 2024 AP089, before the Court of Appeals of the Ponca Nation. This video will cover the legal framework, including tribal due process, employment law within the Gaming Commission, and constitutional law, emphasizing custom-based interpretation. The core conflict is a termination dispute, balancing modern labor practices with indigenous governance. Key issues include procedural due process, at-will employment, and the influence of tribal tradition. The appellant is Nita Red Hawk, a former floor manager at the gaming facility. The appellee is the Ponca Nation Gaming Commission, the regulatory oversight agency. Red Hawk served as a floor manager for 4 years, maintaining consistently positive performance evaluations with no prior disciplinary actions in her personnel file. Following a security allegation, the commission took immediate action, resulting in termination without prior notice, a formal hearing, or an opportunity for Red Hawk to respond to the charges. The issues on appeal address 2 main points: the extent of due process protections owed to tribal employees under sovereign law, and the role of Ponca custom and tradition in legal proceedings. The first point of error asserts that at-will employment does not eliminate due process protections. Sovereignty requires balancing administrative efficiency with fundamental fairness. Supporting Argument 1, referencing Board of Regents v. Roth, argues that property interests are defined by the nature of the interest, not the contract label. Due process is required if government actions stigmatize a citizen. Supporting Argument 2, referencing Cleveland B.D. of Ed v. Loudermill, highlights that the Due Process Clause requires a pre-termination opportunity to respond. This serves as an initial check against mistaken decisions. Supporting Argument 3, citing Wisconsin v. Constantino, addresses the liberty interest. When government action damages a person's good name and integrity, a name-clearing hearing is required to refute the charges. The second point of error focuses on tribal custom and tradition. The district court erred by ignoring Ponca traditional values of fairness, which mandate that accusations be heard fairly before judgment. Supporting Argument 4, citing Santa Clara Pueblo v. Martinez, reinforces that tribal courts are the primary interpreters of their own customs and traditions. Federal courts should avoid interfering in tribal internal affairs. Supporting Argument 5, referencing Talton v. Mays, establishes that tribal due process is an inherent part of sovereignty. Individual rights are governed by tribal law and tradition, which existed prior to the Constitution. The appellant's fundamental fairness theory argues that misconduct terminations create a stigmatizing characterization, triggering the liberty interest and requiring a mandatory name-clearing hearing. The respondent's case theory relies on the sovereign autonomy theory, arguing that the combination of at-will employment and inherent sovereign immunity creates a jurisdictional bar to judicial review. For the appellant, what's at stake includes fundamental fairness, reputation, the right to be heard, and the integration of tribal tradition into modern law. For the respondent, the stakes involve preserving governance and immunity, including sovereignty security, administrative efficiency, and upholding the tribal council's legislative authority. In closing, this case defines the delicate balance between tribal business efficiency and constitutional fairness for tribal citizens.